The opinions expressed on the Custody Queen Show are for informational purposes only and are not a substitute for personal, professional legal advice. The persons discussed are fictional and not based on actual clients.
Thought it was love, had kids in between. You can count on us, we're the Custody Queens. Yeah, you can count on us, we're the Custody Queens.
Good morning, all of our favorite peeps. Raise them and praise them. It is the Custody Queens.
Happy Saturday.
Good morning, everybody.
We have Sinya Williams with us here today, and she is just a regular. If you can't tell, she's got a recurring spot with us because, you know, not only is she a
amazing custody queen, but she's also an awesome person.
Yeah, thank you for saving me there, Sam, because you know that my mouth was going somewhere that probably is not radio approved. But yes, we just love having Sinya with us, so it is your treat listening.
So today we are doing our listener emails. So I'm going to start it off with the first one.
Wait, but I just want to say we love listener emails. Keep them coming. They bring us joy, and we laugh at some of these emails. I love seeing the ones where people want to know what size shoe Sam wears.
11.
But keep them coming, and there's really no limits. We are completely transparent humans.
And we'll try to get to as many as possible.
Yeah, we're on a time crunch, I know.
So I have the first one from Jackie from Reseda. She wrote in, "Hey Custody Queens, I listen to your show every week. I finally got the nerve to write in a question. I just found out my husband has a gambling problem. I was considering a divorce before I found this out, but now it's even worse. He has lost $75,000 online gambling. What happens in our divorce as far as his debt is concerned?"
All right, well, I'm going to let Sam finish the second part of that. But Jackie from Reseda, thank you for getting the courage to writing us. We love you. And I guess I just want to say one thing from a human component is that you are not alone. This is becoming a pretty recurring issue in a lot of our cases. And I would like to say that gambling is often an addiction, like other issues that we have to navigate through a divorce. It doesn't make it right, but I just want to throw a little human component to this issue. But again, thank you for calling us, and it is a real issue, and it is definitely something that you need to take steps for protecting yourself and your livelihood, and I'm going to let Sam finish it.
Sure, thanks, Kristen. So the first thing I will say is now that you know that this is occurring, you don't want to do nothing. The first thing you need to do is call us, and we can have a very specific consult with you, your case, your facts, and all that. But in general, when you look at cases where you have a party that is disposing of significant amounts of community property or monies that was acquired during marriage, you have a potential issue, which we call in family law a breach of a fiduciary duty. So you're not without remedy totally. This is obviously a huge generalization, but these are somewhat complex cases, but they're not infrequent, and we know how to handle them. So we want to know the information. There's obviously a lot more questions I would ask before I could give you very specific advice. So I would say, hey, call in. But it's an important subject, and thank you for bringing that to all of our listeners' attention, because when somebody breaches a fiduciary duty, or there is a potential breach of a fiduciary duty, at the time of trial, you could receive more of the community estate in the form of a sanction because someone is doing something wrong. When you're married, you guys are fiduciaries to each other. And this may seem somewhat complex, and it is, but in essence, when you have two parties that are married, they have the same relationship and the same duty to each other as non-marital business partners. That's the standard. So you need to make sure you're acting in good faith and fair dealing at all times. And if you're not, or you think someone isn't, we want records, we want information. There's a lot more to it, but we definitely want you to give us a call so we can tell you what your options are for your specific case.
The only thing I have to add is even if you're trying to work on your marriage and go through therapy or try to see if there is anything you can do to resolve these issues, protect yourself. Do not wait another year, because even though the court can award you sanctions and you can get a larger portion of what is a larger portion than equal of what is left of the community estate, there may not be anything left to divide or to award. So do not wait. You can still try to work on your marriage and resolve any gambling issues and or addictions that are going on, but simultaneously stop the bleeding and protect yourself as well.
Yeah, that's exactly right, because you don't wait until you are getting a divorce to call an attorney.
Yeah, so call us at 1-800-419-7772. That is 1-800-419-7772. And Jackie, give us a call. Sam and I would love to have a consult with you.
All right, next question.
Yep.
Sylvia from Ontario wrote in, "Hi, Kristen and Sam. I love your show. I need your help. My granddaughter wants to go to law school to be a public defender. I would like her to practice a more lucrative type of law. How should I address this? Thanks, ladies."
So I would say you shouldn't. I'm being somewhat facetious, but I mean, the truth with being an attorney is, and I think probably all of us agree, you kind of don't end up where you think you started. Maybe that's for a particular practice. You start in criminal, you end up in family law, or maybe that's what you specifically want to do within that field. But when you go to law school, you get a degree and a license to practice law in that state.
Which isn't much.
Right. But you get a license to practice in that state. And then one of the beautiful things about being an attorney in California is that once you have that legal education and you are licensed, you can potentially change fields. Now you have to make yourself competent in order to change the field. But it's not an end-all be-all. So if somebody wants to increase their potential income revenue at a later time, that's not a disqualifying event to pursue something right now. So I'm of the firm believer that you got to let them kind of do what they're going to do. And, you want to be in a job that you love, and maybe that doesn't make it the most financially lucrative job, and that's okay. But you just got to give them a chance to come on their own.
Yeah. Sylvia, love Ontario. They have such an awesome Topgolf there. Sam and I were just there recently on
Swinging and missing.
Yeah, swinging and missing. Not a lot of golfing, but great appetizers.
It's a good thing that wasn't filmed, because I almost asked for my money back, and I'm joking, but we barely hit a golf ball.
We tried. There was much more swinging and missing than actual making connection with the ball.
Swing, miss, laugh, talk about getting lessons on repeat.
And we do that about every 2 months. But it's something Sam and I love to do just for fun. But really quick, being a lawyer is one of the most stressful jobs on the planet. And so you have to let your granddaughter navigate this journey. And there are some great components of getting your feet wet in the public defender that field, that office. You have a lot of resources with the county. You get thrown into pretty much a lion's den.
Trial experience.
You have to learn to litigate very, very quickly. You are working with all different backgrounds, races, genders. You really get thrown in. And some of the best litigators come from the public defender's office and what's the other side?
The district attorney.
Yeah. Some of the best litigators come from the district attorney's office as well as the public defender. Now, my guess is your granddaughter would do this for a few years, and then she can decide whether, being in criminal law and being at the public defender's office is something that is good for her down the road. But the more you push, she's going to be resistant. This is one of those things that you have to let her figure this out herself, and she's probably gonna have to fail a few things and have her own success, but she will figure it out, I promise. And I think being a public defender as a new attorney is actually a great foundation. You learn the evidence code better than most attorneys out there, and you get the opportunity to litigate cases that as a new attorney you would never get at most places.
I agree.
Except at the Custody Queens, because Sam and I are here to mentor our new attorneys and make them make those mistakes and learn and have such an incredible team above them to support them.
Absolutely. Couldn't agree more.
Sinya, anything to add?
Well, I was going to say, one, you touched upon it, that you get a lot of experience, and a lot of times you have people that start in a government agency like a public defender or district attorneys, and they go out in private practice and they do make lucrative money because of all the experience they got in those offices.
Yeah.
And if you're there for 10 years, guess what happens to your student loans? Yes, you get taxed on the forgiven part, but 10 years into public service, forgives your loans.
Yeah, you're talking to 3 attorneys who have still a very significant amount of student loans that we are on the 25-year plus plan.
Yeah, and likely mine is more than my house.
Yeah, Sam calls them a mortgage on our career, which couldn't
Mortgage
be better.
on your brain.
Yes.
But
I got a house on my brain.
But some of the best attorneys that I know that have switched fields after 10, 15 years in the public servant office are some of the most incredible, successful attorneys that I know. And they often go into the personal injury arena. And their evidence and their litigation skills are way beyond. I wish I had some of those evidence skills sometimes at that early age.
Correct.
All right, what's next?
All right, Scott from Anaheim wrote in,
Woo woo, Scott. I'm from Anaheim. Well, Anaheim Hills, but
thanks for reading my question, Custody Queens. My baby mama has restricted my visits with my daughter. We had an agreement that I get her every other weekend and take her to dinner on Wednesday nights. Every week lately, my ex comes up with an excuse of why I can't come to get her. What should I do? I'm afraid if I take legal action, she'll just move away with my child and I'll never see her again.
Okay, so I'm going to try to make this answer super quick so that we can do as many as we can. But Scott, first and foremost, if you do not have formal court orders, you need them. Okay, once either of you files the summons and petition and serves the other party, that parent is restricted from leaving the state of California with the child without written consent or order of the court. Okay, so that would solve partially one of your questions and concerns there. I am a big advocate of always memorializing written agreements through a court order. I commend you and your co-parenter, your baby mama, for coming up with this agreement, but you don't want either party to have wiggle room to just have the unilateral decision-making power to say, you can't have your visit tonight. It doesn't work for me. Because if you have actual orders, you have remedies, and it is a lot harder for a parent to say, no, you can't have our child tonight if you have an actual court order. Call us at 1-800-419-7772. That is 1-800-419-7772.
And just to briefly add to what Kristen said, the idea of memorializing an agreement into a court order or asking for specific court relief, it's really a shift of power and control. When you have one parent making unilateral decisions and you feel like you can't seek court intervention because they'll do something, well, that's a sign to you that they have too much control. And it's not about necessarily shifting the control all the way to you. It's about a happy medium. It's about establishing expectations, consistency, stability, so that if there is that moment, Kristen and I always say you should be flexible, but flexible doesn't mean that they make the decision and you just decide what's going to happen based on what they say.
Yeah, and Scott, don't think that filing a motion or asking the court to formalize orders, even though you guys have an agreement, it's not a bad thing. You're just taking it to the next step to completing the project. But I would like to talk to you, Scott, is why are you only having every other weekend and Wednesday nights? Is that because of a distance issue? Is that because of the age of the child? So these are questions that Sam and I would need to talk to you one-on-one regarding, but you are not asking anything unreasonable based on the little information that I have. But give us a call. We would love to chat with you about this, Scott.
Next question is from Rachel from Long Beach. She wrote, "Hi, Kristen. You've mentioned on the show that you have an obsession with Amazon, and I do as well.
Mention.
Sometimes I'll shop on Amazon late at night as retail therapy. How do I curtail this and not get consumed with my recent retail therapy addiction? Thanks. I thought you'd understand."
Okay, Rachel, I'm going to make this down and dirty and real for you. We share a similar habit. I am an insomniac and I don't sleep much. And there is a period of time almost every single night that I am awake somewhere between the hours of 2 and 4 a.m. And I can tell you last night I bought Ugg boots at 2:30 in the morning. So I don't know that I am the best person to give advice to you because I'm, trying to figure out my own habits. But as long as you are not spending more money than you're making, as long as you are not buying illegal things. I mean, obviously, I think that I have a little bit of a retail therapy issue that I need to address, and that's probably just related to stress levels with me. I think buying something on Amazon provides somewhat of an instant gratification, and it's just very addicting. Just like social media, it's it's a little bit of a problem. But I don't know that I would be overly concerned with where you're at. Something that I've started to do is delete the Amazon app off the iPad.
I was just about to say.
That I use at night, although I think my house has about 12 iPads. But I use one specific iPad at night, and so I've taken the Amazon app off of that. And I'm not someone that will go to like Target.com and look for things if it's not super easy for me to press a button and bam, it's on your door. I won't really put in the effort. So I think you're okay, Sylvia, but if you want to chat with me about this, I'm super transparent and we can talk about our Amazon habits together.
Well, I think that I know no one asked, but I think that me, who doesn't have an Amazon addiction, can add a practical tip. And let me see what you think about this, Kristen, because I love the app deletion. But I wonder how many things you buy on Amazon that you don't actually really want. It's like impulse, right? It's click to buy.
More than
so I would
need.
Challenge you, like Kristen, this would be a challenge to you, that you put everything in your cart for a week and you buy nothing for the week. And then on Sunday, you go and you look at the cart and you literally say, can I click all of this at the same time? Or do you start to delete and filter some out before you hit buy?
Okay, so here's what I have going on right now. I have two areas in my brain. One is the I need it now, like detergent. Okay, and I can justify like Nikes and things like that are need now. But right now I have about $2,800 in my cart of Christmas presents.
Oh, so you already do this.
I'm already doing it. And that cart has grown. And then, you can only have so many things in your cart.
I don't know that.
Okay, you can only have so much. I think it's like 50 things or something. And then you can only have 500 saved.
Only 500.
So I'm past the 500 saved.
Okay.
But no, I've been doing that lately, and I just don't buy. So I either want it right now and I have to have it the second, because I buy everything on Amazon, you guys. I buy toothpaste. I do too. I buy makeup. I buy cleaning supplies, dog food. Everything. I don't go to stores anymore. I mean, snacks for the kids. I have, everything on.
Yeah.
And so I have this cart that's just growing, and I've been a lot better about not buying everything I want. But, my husband, for my birthday, he gave me an Amazon gift card, and he said, I am so resistant giving this to you because I can only imagine how many boxes are coming to the door. So he would probably say it's an issue in our relationship that we're trying to work through.
Well, no, it sounds like you were implementing my tip already. So, I mean, think of all the things you could have bought, and you could tell it to your husband. Like, listen, there is 500 items in my save for later that you could have bought.
Yeah, and then I try to delete my save for later, but that just takes time. So I'm like, can I just do a mass delete all? But you can't.
If I may.
Yes.
One of the other things you could possibly do is if it happens late at night, a good rule of thumb is to put your phone away and don't pick up your phone for the rest of the night, because that would also
I'm on my
help.
iPad.
Or put away the electronics at a certain point in your night to just focus on you, meditation. Pick up a new habit that's going to benefit your well-being.
Rookie.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know if we're getting the iPad.
Yeah, I don't think we're there yet. 5 years of working on it, we're not there yet. But I have gotten a lot better about, and it's usually when I can't fall back asleep and nothing else works. And then, like I said, I end up on Wikipedia and then Amazon, and next thing you know, you got a new purse on your porch the next day. And then they have that 4 a.m. to 8 a.m. next day delivery. And I'll tell you, I was going to the front door at 5:45 the other day to try to sneak my packages in before my husband got up. And the Amazon driver scared the living you-know-what out of me, and I screamed bloody murder.
It's hilarious.
Because he came up behind me just putting another box down at 5:30 in the morning. And I was like,
oh, it's so good.
All right, anyways. But I'm with you, girl. We got this together.
All right, Beth from Simi Valley wrote in, Hi, Custody Queens. I love the show. I recently got engaged and I am feeling some kind of way because my fiance asked me to sign a prenup. As of right now, he makes a lot of money. However, I am in law school. I have so many bills and student loans, but I know I will be making money in the future. I feel it's a bit unfair to make me sign something when I feel like our finances should be one. What should I do? This is an uncomfortable conversation. Thanks, Custody Queens.
Well, the first thing I would do is I would change the way that you're looking at this. In my opinion, prenuptial agreements are very important, and they eliminate stress and money down the road and emotions. Yeah, I mean, I'm one of those people that thinks that every case should probably have a prenuptial agreement. And just because your status and your financial ability is going to change down the road, anything that he has had prior to marriage, arguably, is going to be his separate property, even a significant period into the relationship, unless it's transmuted or title is changed or something like that. But I think if you look at it as a way that he's trying to protect what he had prior to marriage, and simultaneously whatever you have prior to marriage would be stated and, protected. And then I would also make a call to the custody queen so we can look at this prenuptial agreement and make sure there's nothing unconscionable in the agreement regarding spousal support or child support. You can't put a lot of things in a prenuptial agreement, specifically regarding the kids.
Yeah, and just to kind of add on to that, there are a lot of protections in place. The family code is very specific regarding prenuptial agreements, the length of time that you need between the agreement and the time of marriage. And always, each party should have counsel. Doesn't mean it's a must, but it should be a must. You each need an attorney. And, if you feel that you're signing something unfair, then don't sign it, But you want to talk to an attorney and understand, what does unfair mean? Is this a, generally speaking, unfair thing? Does this have some protections in place for you? I think there is somewhat an interesting dynamic in our society that we just think prenup means that the person that doesn't have significant assets to bring into the marriage is somehow not protected, and that's simply not true. But you need your own attorney. You need to make sure you have a specific consult with that attorney, that they are specifically reviewing that prenuptial agreement considering your interests, and that you're not just blindly signing something that someone else is telling you to do. And if they are incentivized to get a prenuptial agreement, then they should be incentivized to do it correctly anyways. So it should really, although it may be somewhat an uncomfortable thing to do in advance of a wedding, look, I would pursue the consultation with the attorney, retaining an attorney even, and understanding what about it is unfair. If it is unfair at the end of the day, then yeah, I think your attorney is going to tell you, don't sign it.
But then your attorney can also negotiate those terms with the person who's drafted the prenuptial agreement and make it a negotiation. But honestly, in my opinion, I think every marriage, if we just normalized having a prenuptial agreement before going into the marriage, it would save parties thousands and thousands of dollars. It would lessen the emotional toll that this process takes. And arguably your student loans are likely going to be, at least a good chunk of them, it sounds like, acquired prior to marriage. So obviously there's some exceptions with student loans being your separate debt. That's something you may want to talk to the attorney about, seeing if there's a counter proposal that you can add to that prenuptial agreement. But the person that's being asked to sign it is often put in the defensive mode. But my advice is, look at it from a different standpoint. Talk to an attorney. Call us at 1-800-419-7772. That's 1-800-419-7772. But when you call us, we can tell you exactly what you're giving up, what you may or may not be losing, what you may or may not be gaining, and we can negotiate that for you. But it's a settlement process is what it is.
Agreed.
But make sure you are hiring an attorney that is competent in this area of law.
All right, let's go on to the next question. Michael from West LA wrote in, "Hi, Custody Queens. I fell in love with this woman who has 3 children. They range from ages 6 to 12. They all have different fathers. There's so much drama between the fathers and my girlfriend. I often question marriage because I really love her, but not sure if I'm just a stable meal ticket and stepfather for her kids. Thanks."
Michael from West LA, thank you for writing us. I'm not sure if this is a legal question or more of a question that you might want to discuss and explore with, a therapist. These questions come up a lot. I can tell you that if you are undertaking the marriage with a woman of 3 children with 3 different dads, you must know what you're getting into, just for your own mental state as well as legally. But, you can't help who you fall in love with. But I do think, Michael, you need to understand, if you were to get married, what comes of this. And also, it's a lot to take on. Those ages from 6 to 12, those can be some tricky ages. So I think it's just super important that you are prepared for that undertaking, and that it's not only in the best interest for you, but how is that whole family dynamic going to work?
Yeah, and I think just to add on to that, maybe sitting down and talking about boundaries and expectations, and what is your role in these children's life? What if there is drama? What does that drama look like? Is it different with each parent? Is there court processes? That doesn't mean that you run away. But that's ultimately a you decision, right? So there's plenty of people that enter into relationships with children, my stepdad being one of them. I have 3 stepsisters that I love dearly, right? So that's not necessarily to me a no, you cannot or should not proceed. That's a personal question, but you should take steps like Kristen was saying to answer that question. And
manage your own expectations.
And you should manage those expectations before you get married.
Did I just take those words out of your mouth?
Always do.
All right, we'll go to
You do it to me too.
We'll go to hopefully one more. Let's get one more in. Ruth from Orange wrote in, "Hi Queens, I love your show. I listen to it every week. My question is for Sam. I know you and Kristen are super close. Do you guys ever fight? Just curious. Thanks, ladies."
We never have fought a single day in our lives. No, of course, Kristen and I have had disagreements. I think if you look at we're coming up on our 8-year, we're coming up on our 8 years together in our, but look, people have disagreements, but the thing I will say about Kristen, which is always true, if you look at how long Kristen and I have been working together day by day, side by side, hour
by case,
hour by hour, we have a pretty good track record. Okay, we get along really well, and I think that now we're at a stage in our relationship, like we're married, we're in a stage of our relationship where we get each other, so like there's plenty of times that I need space and Kristen gives that to me. She can read the room, vice versa. So I think not more than anyone else, really. I think we do a good job. I'm proud of us.
I can count on one hand in 8 years how many disagreements we've had.
Right.
And I can tell you that not one has lasted more than 48 hours. I think we had one time, and it was, I don't even remember what it was over. I think we were just both tired and being persistent. I think it was over a case actually, in our position, and I think we both cried that night, and then it was like, who can run in and apologize first the next day?
That's the thing too about Kristen is, and I appreciate this and love this about Kristen, is Kristen says this and it is true. Kristen is the first person to say if she thinks she's done something wrong. And it's not that Kristen is doing things wrong, but it's, no. What I mean by that is, look, so am I. We're quick to apologize because we're not actually trying to hurt each other's feelings. Like, stuff happens, and like, trust me, I can promise you I've said sorry a lot, right? Because I'm not a perfect person, and anyone that knows me absolutely says I'm the worst person in the world to fight with, like hands down. Kristen?
No, she is very, very unemotional and completely shuts down, where I'm like, well, let's talk it out,
Yeah.
And that can be oil and water. So if I told you here today that we have never fought and we've never had a disagreement, I would be straight up lying to you, because that is just not possible in any healthy, functioning relationship. It's just not possible. But I can tell you that Sam and I are at a level of absolute respect and seeing each other through our darkest moments and our happiest moments. So we are the perfect team, and we are building the perfect team.
Agreed.
So please, everyone, we love your questions. Please remember to call us at 1-800-419-7772. That is 1-800-419-7772. Keep your questions coming. We love you.
And remember,
Let love rule.